right, good day, my awesome viewers and subscribers. Thank you for joining me on another great episode of your favorite political talk show, The Truth, with Ben Jokes. APC former spokesman and journalist Tundday Oladunjo dies in UK. Mr. Oladunjo, a renowned journalist that some of us know very well, disappointed many Nigerians when he became a spokesman for the evil cult group called APC. He died in a UK hospital. You see, we are yearning for a Nigeria where we would not have to run abroad at the slightest discomfort we feel because of the failure of our own health sector. And we can't achieve that with leaders that are always running to France and England for treatment. And Mark Tony here says, and the government they have been speaking for cannot provide them with good medical facilities in Nigeria. Anyway, where is their boss? Patronizing French health facilities, I guess. May God accept his shortcomings and rest his soul. Honestly, I don't think any APC supporter deserves to rest in peace. I don't think so, honestly. Now, let us look at the top stories. The U.S. government has heightened tensions in Edo State by declaring interest in the tribunal battle between APC's Monday Okpebolo and PDP's Asue Ighodalo. And many are asking, what exactly is the U.S. government trying to do about the manipulations of the APC and Nigerian judiciary? And next is that update from UROMI. In the same Edo State, the worst is set to happen as FULANIS declared a war on UROMI to avenge the killings of the suspected 16 hunters. Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this video. You know, when we say that this administration is out to steal, to kill, and to destroy, some of you will think it is an exaggeration. But look at this. After they have destroyed the power sector, many Nigerians began turning to solar panels to improve their electricity supply. Now, this administration is set to ban the importation of solar panels. Watch this interview.
Let's first understand the context. And the context, also in line with your intro, is that we are dealing with a major energy crisis in Nigeria. Yes. And the options available to Nigerians are very difficult options. We are talking about using generator. If you are on electricity, normal electricity, unless you are in band A, which is also not easy, the others you have to complement with the use of generator. And given the cost of fuel, whether you are talking about PMS, you are talking about diesel, you are talking about gas, these things are very expensive. So the only window of opportunity that looks a bit, convenient is the solar solution. Even though the initial acquisition cost is extremely very high, but the subsequent maintenance is extremely very low. And the adoption of these solar solution has been gaining a lot of traction, both within households, within SMEs, in the rural areas, in our institutions, hospitals, schools. It's gaining, very wide acceptance. So now for us to now be contemplating a ban on solar panel will worsen the energy crisis. And the point to make here is that it's not as if the government has announced clearly that it was going to ban, but it was the Minister of Science and Tech that said that in order to stimulate or incentivize domestic production of solar panels, government was thinking of banning the importation of solar panels. So our argument here is that, first, there is something about policy sequencing. You need to examine and determine your domestic capacity in any production space before you start to contemplate the idea of banning importation. So that you don't, in the process of trying to promote industrialization, create a crisis for the citizens, just as we are seeing now in the United States. So these are things that need to be carefully balanced. So there's a lot of caution that we need to take. Secondly, issues of banning or no banning is a state policy matter. It's not a science and tech matter. And when we are talking about trade policy, it's within the remit of the coordinating Minister of the Economy, the Minister of Budget and National Planning, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. These are the key people that should be making pronouncements on whether you want to ban anything, you want to increase the tariff, you want to liberalize, whatever it is. Because they are in a better position to be able to understand the wider implications of any policy, both for welfare, for the economy, for industries, and all of that. So what we have put out there is a note of caution that we have to make haste slowly in this kind of policy.
You heard that. That was Dr. Muda Yusuf, the CEO of Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise there, talking about the proposed ban on solar panels in Nigeria. And he was saying that it's not as if the government has announced it, that it is the Minister of Science and Technology that proposed it, and that they need to consult with other relevant ministers before going ahead. But I am telling you that in a couple of days or weeks, we are going to hear that announcement, because they have already concluded. Before the Minister of Science and Tech could come out to say that, he has met everybody and they have concluded to punish Nigerians. If it is not yet clear to anyone how evil this administration is, I wonder what else that person needs to see. I call these things pure wickedness, because most of the areas these guys are failing at are areas that basic knowledge of economics can handle. For instance, this one, if you want to produce local solar panels, instead of, importing panels continually, the first step is not to ban importation of panels. Basic economics prescribes import substitution first, where you produce the substitute of what you want to ban. Then you perfect your own local production and you let it go into the market and compete with the imported products. And because it was made locally, it will definitely be cheaper. Then you can go a step further by increasing import duties on that particular product, so that the selling price of that product will increase in the market, thereby making it unattractive to consumers. And gradually you phase out the importation of local panels so that the locally made ones can thrive. That's how you end importation of a product. But the APC does not want to do that. They just want to punish Nigerians, and only them, and God knows why. This was the same thing they did with rice in Nigeria. Instead of them to allow the production of local rice, to compete with importation of the foreign rice, they went ahead straight and banned foreign rice. Now we are buying local rice at 90,000 naira, 100,000 naira in a country where we used to buy imported rice for 8,500 naira and 9,000 naira. There is no economic formula to explain that, but the failure of the APC. If this country does not get rid of this evil cult group called the APC, this nation will eventually sink completely. Now, let us look at the top stories. First is that terrible update coming out of UROMI. FULANIS have declared a war on UROMI to avenge the killing of the 16 purported hunters. And next is that update from the US government. The US government has declared a strong interest in the legal battle for the gubernatorial seat in Edo State, sending tension into the state. Let's start by taking that update from UROMI. Look at how the papers reported it. We can sneak into UROMI community, Edo, and take revenge. Families of slain hunters in Kano threaten reprisal, Sahara reporters. The families and colleagues of 16 hunters lynched in UROMI, Edo State, have issued a stern warning, threatening to take the law into their own hands if the government fails to arrest and prosecute those responsible for the killings. The hunters, who were reportedly traveling from Port Harcourt, Rivers State to Kano State for the Salah celebration, were intercepted and lynched by the vigilantes at Goodwill Junction along Old Ilushi Road on suspicion of being kidnappers. The gruesome killing has sparked nationwide outrage and condemnation. The majority of the victims hailed from Taranke in Bunkure local government area of Kano State, where mourning has turned to anger and demands for justice. In interviews with The Punch, the community leaders, families, and friends of the victims called for swift government action. Alhaji Musa Dogo, a community leader and hunter, said, "We cannot allow this to go unanswered. If the government does not arrest and publicly prosecute those responsible, we will take matters into our own hands. We know how to track down those who commit evil." Another hunter, Bala Damburan, echoed the sentiment, vowing, "We know how to sneak into UROMI and take revenge ourselves if justice is not served. This is not a threat. It is a promise." The hunters also called for the case to be transferred to a Kano court to ensure transparency and fairness. They referenced a precedent in which the Kano state government handed over a suspect to Bayelsa State for trial. Alhaji Usman Bako, another resident of Bunkure, lamented the killing and criticized the government for what he described as neglect of local security outfits like hunters who have played critical roles in fighting insecurity in rural areas. If this continues, we may be forced to withdraw from joint operations, he warned. In a tearful interview, Hafsat Ibrahim, mother of another victim, Nasiru, demanded justice and compensation. He was the backbone of our family. The killers must be punished according to Islamic rights, and the government should compensate us, she said. You heard that. In a country that has laws, somebody is saying that the killers must be punished according to Islamic rights. And people are openly saying that they will sneak into Uromi and take their revenge. And talking about sneaking into Uromi, this is not the first time you will be doing it. That is what your people have been doing. It's just that because of the neglect of southern leaders, because they have not been able to blow this matter into the air for the whole country to shake. That is why you people are now acting like saints, as if Fulanis have not been the ones going around the country eliminating people. And Kingsley here says, make them come, we dey wait, we go burn them join the ones where we first born. Rubbish said of people. I am telling you, the people of Uromi and all the environment around Uromi, should I even say the entire Edo state, you need to double your guard or triple your guard, because they are going to come in full force. As we speak, they are in your bushes already. We know that that is what they are going to do. So don't slack. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that update from the US government concerning the legal battle in Edo State between APC's Okwebolo and PDP's Asue Godalo began making the rounds. Look at how the papers reported it. US government declares interest in Edo Governorship Tribunal, cites irregularities with collation process. The US government has said it is keenly monitoring the Edo State Governorship Tribunal. Independent observers and civil society organizations noted that the poll was marred by multiple arithmetic errors, about 29,053 uncounted ballots, and other inconsistencies. The U.S. mission in Nigeria on Friday said the collation process of the polls that pronounced the All Progressive Congress's Monday Okpebolo as winner was flawed with serious lapses, noting that the foreign mission, a supporter of fair and credible elections, was closely monitoring the situation. On Wednesday, Justice Wilfred Pochi, chairman of a three-man panel at the Edo State Election Petition Tribunal, upheld the election victory of Mr. Okpebolo and dismissed the allegations of his main challenger, Asue Godalo of the People's Democratic Party, ruling that he failed to satisfactorily substantiate claims of overvoting and irregularities. But the U.S. mission on Friday implicitly rejected the tribunal's verdict in a post on X, citing a report by civil society organization Kimpact Development Initiative, which found that the Edo State polls were riddled with inconsistencies, particularly a mismatch between total number of accredited voters and total votes cast. One of the most striking findings of this study was the persistent mismatch in the number of registered voters across multiple polling units in Edo State. Inconsistencies were found in 141 polling units, stated a ballot integrity project report by Kimpact Initiative referenced by the U.S. mission. Other concerns raised in the report include unaccounted ballots going up to 29,053 and overvoting in at least 382 polling units. Edo recorded a far higher number with 29,053 ballots unaccounted for at the polling unit level. Even after the collation process was completed, Edo still had 20,167 unaccounted ballots, stated the BIP report. The American mission wrote in a statement on Friday, the U.S. mission in Nigeria is following the Edo election appeal process closely, particularly given civil society's concern about critical issues related to the election, such as serious lapses in the collation process that were observed. Ambassador Mills reiterates his statement of September 24 that transparency and due process are crucial to maintaining public confidence in any democratic system. The United States reaffirms our commitment to supporting free, fair, transparent, and credible elections in Nigeria, and will continue to monitor the situation closely. Now, somebody may ask, what is the US government going to do? And the answer is very simple. It is what we have been preaching here. What are the people of Edo State saying? It is what they are saying that the US government will respond to. It is what they say that the US government will swing in to help them with. If the people are out on the streets in their thousands demanding that who they voted for was Asue Igodalo, that is when these powers that be, the US and other powers of the world, can now step in and help to take a decision. You don't expect them to come in and throw and just handpick the governor and throw him away. It is not done that way. They have stated clearly that they saw all the irregularities and they reckoned with the complaints of the civil society groups. It is now left for the people to affirm the position of this US mission and say that yes, we actually voted Asue Igodalo and we want Okpebolo out of office. That is when they will now come in and help you. This country is at the verge of collapse and we need all the help that we can get. But first, we must show that we are ready to get it by all means. And this is what I keep saying. If thousands of Nigerians in all the states of this federation will get on the street and say we rejected the APC at the polls, I am telling you, these foreign guys will come in. And all these people you are seeing at the helm of affairs in Nigeria, just one phone call, they will run away from the seat because they don't have the heart at all. It's only Nigerians that they can bully. Just one phone call from a foreign president or from a foreign state house, you will see how they will panic. So it is left in the hands of Nigerians. That was what I was saying when that man got on air yesterday, that PDP man, and said that it was INEC and the judiciary that rigged in Edo State. Yes, INEC and judiciary rigged. We are tired of saying that, but what have the people done? What was the reaction of the people? Nigerians will need to do more than talking. They will need to get on the streets, shut everywhere down, and then you will watch how help will come from the world. That is the only way for now. That is the only way possible for us to get our country back. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una. Now I dey here, so don't go away. Don't go